And go, recording in progress. Love the fact that that we're referral partners. I can't tell you the number of transactions you've sent this way. I think I'm way behind, so trust me. I'm working on it. So guys, thank you so much for participating. And Merrill, I heard something, and I think it's out of respect that you've been referred to as the Godfather, and I, yeah, well, again, you know what, we're not Italian, but I think that's truly out of respect, and the respect that people have for you as a human and as a leader. So thank you so much for joining in. So the floor is yours, my brother.
Well, listen, first of all, thank you for thinking that I would have something to contribute. You know, when I started selling real estate just over 20 years ago, you know, I had a little bit of hair back then, just a little bit.
You know,
You go out and you just begin to learn, just like the newer agents. You know, we met at family reunion this year, and I am so focused on what I'm doing that I'm not even aware that somebody is paying attention to what I'm doing, because, you know, I'm just busy doing what I'm doing, and I'm not thinking it matters to anybody but me. I think I probably met you in 2005, and you looked exactly like you do now. You look like a whole person.
Thank you, but that's not true. Thank you.
But it has just been a great career. But where did 20 years go? How did that happen? And one of the things, I used to be a cigarette smoker, bad, but I am not anymore. And I first learned about Keller Williams actually on a smoke break with one of my friends when I was at Coldwell Banker. And you know, when I learned my first year at Coldwell Banker, I probably gave them about $77,000 because they had no cap.
Right.
And I had sold, you know, they had a sliding deal, and the commission split. And when I heard about, you know, Keller Williams and no cap, I said, so I could have been there and I would have gotten $59,000 of my money back. And when I heard that, immediately I was leaving. And in those days, the broker, you know, owns the contracts, really was enforced in the brokerage I was in. And so I literally had to sort of plan a coup of how I was going to get my listings. And in this market that we're in now, imagine when that was happening, I had 19 listings, and there was no way that I was leaving that on the table. And those listings would maybe take a couple of months to sell.
Right.
So
Right.
now we got people fighting on them over them in hours. Is just, who would have ever thought? But one of the things that I also remember, my sort of mentor, unofficial mentor, smoking buddy, he was the #1 agent in the county, in the board that we were in at that time. And so he was the celebrity. He was younger than me. He was just hot. You know, he was on magazine covers, all of that. And I remember hearing about this ProfitShare. And so for some reason, I just really got intrigued about that, because I had recruited agents to the former brokerage, and I could attract people to come, and I was given nothing for it. So I already was recruiting agents, and they just didn't do anything but say thank you. So back when in 2003, when I came to Keller Williams, the market center that I was in was brand new. And the way they launch market centers today versus 2003, you could start a market center then and not necessarily be profitable the first time you transmit. So our office, which was part of the Rawls Group at that time, it took 6 months for that office to become profitable. But the whole time that that was happening, first of all, when I came, all of the people that I brought to the other brokerage, they came with me. So I started off with a downline.
Nice.
So during that 6 months of ramp up time before they were first profitable, there was no profit share for those 6 months at all. And when the first month rolled around, my first profit sharing check was $1,300. Oh my God. So that really lit me on fire, you see? So I just got into that. I got into the multiple streams of income, and I just really got into it real big. So, if your first check is $1,300, then, I really started out high. I see people post what their profit sharing check is, and it's like $2 and $3. I never had that because I started out with people all the time. So it really was a revenue source for me. And during those days when my, savings wasn't quite what it is today, I spent every penny of that profit sharing. That profit sharing was paying car notes and all kind of things. And then I looked this morning to kind of be able to give you guys some numbers, because I think that people hear like a story from me and how many people I have under me and how much money I've earned, and they think, oh yeah, that's him. That wouldn't apply to me, and I couldn't possibly do that. Well, I disagree, because when I first heard about it, I had nobody, just like everybody else. And I think it just has to become part of what you do. So I do lead generate, and I lead generate for buyers, just like you guys do. I lead generate for sellers, just like you guys do. But I also lead generate for opportunities with agents. And I do it so much that now people bring agents to me. People suggest that I speak to people. My clients was like, hey, I've got a friend of mine, and he's in real estate, but he's not really flourishing. And I told him about you. So I get those kinds of referrals, just like people refer a buyer or a seller. And what I think, I looked at statistics on this morning internet, and we have close to 180,000 agents at Keller Williams. And so there's a page in the report section that talks about lifetime earnings. And as of February, out of those 180,000 agents, are only 116 that have made $1 million in profit sharing. 116 out of the 180,000. There are 326 agents that as of February have hit the $500,000 mark in profit sharing. There are 2,617 that have hit the $100,000 mark. There are 5,788 that have hit the $50,000 mark. There are 25,676 that have hit the $10,000 mark. There are 39,195 that have hit the $5,000 mark, 77,129 that have hit the $1,000 mark, and 93,208 that have hit the $500 mark. So that's like half of the agents still that aren't even in the game. And I have always just wondered why people do not do that, because it is truly a potential revenue source for you. And if I could trigger something, hopefully, that would ignite something in you that, would cause you to be interested in it. Because it took me 13 years. And now remember, these years that I was there were the years that the market crashed. So there were some months that the profit sharing was really, really low, just because some of these offices were not making a huge profit.
Right.
People left and went and got jobs and all sorts of things. So it took me 13 years to get to $100,000. 13 years. And then it has taken me 4 years to make the next 100,000. And so now my next threshold is 500,000. Now, when I first heard of profit sharing, I never even dreamt that I would make $500,000, on profit sharing. I just never thought it. And so at a certain point, as I probably got around $50,000, I was like, this is starting to turn into something here. Let me do something else with this money, because I'm just wasting it. It's just going in with my operating, money. So I then decided I was not going to spend the money. So when the money goes in on the 21st, my financial planners take it on the 24th, right on out of there, and put it into investments in the names of my children and grandson. So now I don't even touch it, and I made each one of them go and do what they had to do to make the insurances and the investments that the money was going to in their names. And so they had to do all sorts of, they had to do blood tests and stuff. And then all of those statements come right to my house. No, you can't see it. No, you can't have it, but it's in their name. So,
Nice.
huh?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I haven't set that up, but I'll just chime in and tell you that 2010 was the worst year I'd ever had, as we were, still in the recession. And I had about 35,000 in that account that I hadn't touched, and that helped me get through the difficult times. Now, like I said, like you, I don't touch it. I just bought another property, which Keller Williams paid for. So again, I love the mindset around that.
Well, it's just a good thing. And I remember I would set goals for what I wanted my profit sharing to do. So I can remember when I said, okay, I want my profit sharing to give me my cap back from Keller Williams. I don't want to pay anything. And so that was a goal, and it took in a year's time. And it took me, a couple of years to make that happen, because again, this was during the downturn in the market. And so it took me a couple of years, and then I got that back. And so I was like, wow, that actually happened. So then I said, okay, well, I want all of my MLS fees back. I want all my board dues back. I want all of my operating expenses back to run this business, and I just want all of it back. And then that happened. So I would set goals for what I wanted that profit sharing to do. So if you have, let me see by raise of hands who all has a downline. Let me see y'all's hands. Just even if it's one person. Okay, great. I've got some suggestions for you. Like the 30th of this month, Shay Chevalier, I just like saying her name. She is doing Bold here in Atlanta. It's nowhere even near close to where I live, but I will ring up all of the people in my downline, and I am inviting them to join me at Bold. And so when they do that, their business is going to grow. My profit sharing is going to grow. And there are a couple of people that I'm sort of courting right now that are with other brokerages. I am sponsoring 50% of the Bold class for those people. And I'm making them pay the rest, because I feel like you've got to get some skin in the game. And it's an opportunity for them to peek into the window of Keller Williams. So you've got to begin to, if I'm going to do a vision board, then I'm going to invite all of those people to do a vision board with me and make it some sort of a deal like that. Okay. When my people that have created the profit share for me, when they go to family reunion, just like an OP entertains their people, so do I. Because, I wouldn't have the money if not for them. So if we're going to have dinner, drinks, I remember the last time we were in Vegas, I took everybody that attended to the Michael Jackson show, because they helped me have this money. And I feel like you should put something back into them that make them feel appreciated. And I think that when they feel that, it'll help them may want to do the same thing. We're not required to recruit. We're not required to mentor. We're not required to do anything other than refer the person to the team leader for them to, bring the fish into the boat. However, would it not make sense for you to help them feel, just sort of connected, and help them in anywhere that you could benefit them? So although I'm not required to do that, like I've got a few people now that are newer agents. And so fortunately, I've started my year out with a whole lot of new listings. Right now I'm working from home. I'm sitting at my breakfast table. I all the time. Come over, we're gonna show you how to prepare for a listing. Sit here with me while I do it. And I show them everything that goes into, what I'm gonna do it anyway. And when I'm showing someone how to do it, it makes me even do it better than I would. Okay?
Amen.
It does. And then even while they're here, they have benefit of hearing me resolve issues on the phone, that they just wouldn't hear. And just something that's not even a big deal to me may totally be a game changer for them. So I do what I can do. I also look at opportunities. I'm sure you guys in your various markets have lots of networking events. And although it's COVID, I decided, last year I had a whole bunch of people to die and a bunch of funerals, and I'm traveling for funerals, but why can't I do what I do for other stuff? And I just decided I'm not going to be foolish, but I'm not going to be held captive by this pandemic either. So there are networking opportunities with other realtors in your city. People want to be associated with someone that has momentum about themselves. And they want, whether that be other agent associates in your area, whether that be buyer or seller, potential clients, people want to work with and be around people that have a momentum. And once you decide, I cut my teeth in this business in 2001. That's when my license started. And it was right after, like my license is dated October 19th. So that was right after September 11th happened. And so it was a very similar time to right now with this war. Everything was weird feeling. Everybody was panicked and afraid. And that time it was even in the US. So it was really weird. And so I was literally studying for the Georgia real estate license right during September 11th. So I had to have major focus, and I had to turn the news off in order to study. Now, when have you turned the news off on September 11th? But I feel like if you are connected with people and you share some of your successes, on social media, and as you speak, it looks like to people now, in January, I only had 2 closings, but people are like, you're always closing. Okay, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But people feel like I am. And so when people feel confident in you, they will approach you. I shared my last year's, successful year. It's the most successful year that I've ever had during a pandemic. And I shared that during family reunion. There was someone from another company that was obviously watching. And when I got back, I got a call from this person. And we hadn't seen or talked to each other in quite a while. And he said, hey, man. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And he said, what's the magic sauce? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because of how he perceived what was happening with me, it offered me an opportunity to sort of speak with him about, how I feel that he could benefit from coming to this company. I think if you have a very clear way to explain why you choose to be here, because you make a choice every day. Keller Williams is not the cheapest thing, out there at all. And Payless shoes aren't the cheapest thing either. Ferragamos aren't the cheapest thing either. But I'm not wearing Payless shoes. My feet would hurt. It would just not be a good deal. So why do we want to go for the cheapest real estate? So I want to be able to just encourage you guys to just think about this as an option, and the fact that you could retire, and as long as the people are still selling, you can still continue to benefit from a stream of revenue that is truly passive. Is that a question from Tina?
As Christina, will you check that? And if so, we'll make sure, Tina, that we get it answered. Do you have a question, Tina? I can take you. No,
I raised my hand when I was not on for having a downtime.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Anyway, so I want you guys to just think about what that could look like, because Keller Williams offers a lot of opportunities. When I was at my previous brokerage, Nobody talked to me about possibilities of ownership in the company. Nobody talked to me about, building my business like a business and all that goes into that. And so I really am quite blessed. We've got a class that's being taught this month. In fact, it's in Terrell Patton's Market Center in Tucker, Georgia. And he is having Bob Klinsky come in and teach actual bookkeeping and accounting and business principles. And I'm inviting guests. That ain't even my office. And I'm going to bombard up in there 4 or 5 people with me that I know their brokerage doesn't teach anything like that. And they're going to be blown away at the level of education that we give and support that we give. And I know when you go to our classes, who came to Keller Williams that has never been anywhere else? Let me see those hands. Okay, see, you guys are at a huge, really sort of disadvantage because you don't have anything to compare it to. And I think you sort of need to have an idea of what people are not getting that you really probably take,
Take for granted. Absolutely.
Yeah, so if you think about what you're getting that you just think is normal, I promise you what other people are getting is not anywhere close to the level of training that we get. And if you just begin to just meet some people for lunch, or if you have co-ops that you really enjoy, I've given the book to people, but how many books do we have that just sit on a shelf? And when you do that, a lot of them are not really looking at the book. But so you have to kind of engage them a little bit and have an idea of, well, why am I at Keller Williams? You made a decision whenever you signed up, but you also make a decision every single day that you stay. And if you haven't figured out why you stay, I think you ought to do yourself a service of figuring out that reason and knowing how to articulate it when you come across your industry peers.
Merrill, I so appreciate the message, and I I don't want the message to be lost, because I see a friend of mine on from Coldwell Banker. I see a friend of mine on from Compass, and this isn't, what I'm getting is, you're talking about profit share, but I think that you're really also talking about sharing, and that's the reason why you share, is because you care, right? And I think that's the message I don't want to get lost here, because what we know is, out of our 180,000 associates around the world, only 30% even participate in this, right? Only 30%.
You're right, which is awesome. Now, let me say this about that. This is really about another stream of income. No,
Right.
I play spades, y'all, and I can really pay, okay? And when you're counting your books, you don't want all those sandbags. You want to count your hand, all of it. And so this is something that is just another, potential opportunity of earning for you at this particular company. Now, I was at another company. It was a 100% company. I can't even remember the name of it. And I never sold a house in my first year. Never sold a house. In fact, I left there owing them money. And if I could remember the name of it, I would go give them their money. I don't even know how to find them. However, they may not even be around anymore. But look at people laughing. But you just have to look at that as what it is. People that sell houses that I know, most of them are driving Range Rovers and all these fancy cars that I care nothing about. Y'all, I drive a Chrysler. Paid for old Chrysler. It's clean now and it's operating well. But really, what motivated me has always motivated me about, even before I was a realtor or any of that, is my children. And when I started in the real estate business, when I started in life, my parents were divorced. I had my father. I knew him. I loved him. But he didn't set me up at all. And so much of what happened probably created the drive in me that has made me successful. So I look at everything as a benefit, but this is an opportunity for me to help. I have 4 sons. This is an opportunity for me to set them up. You understand? And I want to be able to have just a lump of money that when they're, really ready or showing me that they are ready to receive it, I will turn it over to them. It is right now, my sons are young in their life. They're in their early 30s and 20s. They're making money, but they're not making money enough to be saving anything. And so I want to be able to position them and start saving for my grandson's potential education so that when it's time, they can add whatever they're able to do later to what I have done here. And I don't have to drive an expensive car. I can drive that Chrysler. I don't live up every penny that I earn. And so this is really about money management and another opportunity while we're out here grinding in these streets. Because at 57, where I am today, I can't grind like I did 20 years ago.
Me either.
Can I chime in real quick?
Yes.
We actually have 2 questions in the chat. So Dion Cole was asking whether you have a team or if you're a solo agent.
So I once had a team, and then I had a couple of years that I was a team leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people think, oh, wow, he's got all those people because he was a team leader. During the period, which was about 3-4 years that I was a team leader, I put one person in my downline during that time. So I never wanted people to think that I was taking the people from the agents. And when I redirected the one person that I did put in my downline, and she's still with the company, she insisted that she was going under me. So, and what can you do? You can't make that happen. I never wanted it to happen because I never wanted conflict there. So after the team leader thing, I came back as an individual agent. And since then, I am now an individual agent with a transaction coordinator.
Okay. And then Sharon Arsenal is asking, why do you feel that participation is so low in ProfitShare?
I don't know. I really just don't know. I think a lot of people think, oh, I don't know what to say to the people. But just anybody that you are doing a deal with, I'm going to say this. There was an agent that I really wanted to attract to come to the company, and I knew that he sold a lot more than me. And so it made me feel like probably some of the people are feeling, because what could I say to him? He's selling a lot more, but I knew that the company would be beneficial to him. And I sort of hesitated. What I tried to do was do a transaction with him. And I went into contract with him twice. And both times my buyers terminated over an inspection. Oh, I never got to do a deal with him. And somebody got him before I finally got him. And now he just became an MRE agent in our market. So he did grow as a result of having come to Keller Williams. I just didn't get to have the benefit of having him in my tree. So you don't know who you're going to attract. You don't know who could become a team leader and really put a bunch of people under you. The person that, and I'm going to say this in codes, the person that brought me to the company over that cigarette, he only recruited 10 people in all of his 20 years, and I was one of them. And I have put at least 500 people under him in those years.
Okay. We actually just got another one from Taria Kennedy. Are you using KW score, or how would you suggest to use KW score as leverage to build your downline? And just real quick, we have 7 more minutes left on this, on the Zoom call.
Okay. Yes, I am using K-score. I think you should absolutely advertise that we are offering this. And, the conversation can go like this. I mean, who would enjoy, having an opportunity to get into this wild and crazy business and build a great real estate practice like me? And so people are ready for job changes. People's jobs have changed because of the pandemic. You just have no idea what kind of thing. I probably have got about 5 people going through the K-score now. Some of them don't necessarily care for the online thing, but what it has done is they've maybe gone through a third of it, and then they have gone ahead and paid for a course. So, because I would do better in a classroom myself, but there are some people that can do I would never have passed doing that online, me. People learn differently, but what it does is it gets a conversation going, and people that are just thinking of it, they've seen you, they respect what you do. In the last 3 years, several of my clients have gotten real estate licenses. And so no more referrals from them. I don't get to call them during bold anymore. But it makes me like thrilled to see. I've got a client that's about 34. He became an agent about a year and a half ago, and about a month ago he was teaching an Ignite class.
Wow.
So he's now into a six-figure thing. He's capped already for the year. He sold 3 houses in January, and I sold 2. I said, oh, so you're trying to show me up, so it's fun to see that.
Merrill, speaking of that, one of my best clients, Orlando Powell, is on this call. He is a top agent, an owner in this company. And I'm so proud. And again, let's not lose the message here that this guy is special because of his heart. He's got his heart. He loves sharing. He loves helping people. And I think that's the reason why he's been so richly blessed. And know that this call, if you want to, relay back to it, it'll be on my new YouTube channel. Aaron Kaufman, who we know is one of, I think, what is he, number 2 in the company? We had Aaron on the call about, wait, time is flying. Maybe it was 3 months ago. He blessed us, and my brother, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sharing today's message. And so I look forward to seeing you help probably at Mega Camp, because I think now that we're traveling, I mean, you travel more than anybody I know, other than maybe Realtor Joy, right? Yeah, right. So, and I would encourage everyone on the call, definitely chime in next week, because we've got I say every week, I bring the meat every week, right? We don't waste time with appetizers and salad. I bring the gusto, I bring the meat. And next week, you're going to love. And matter of fact, most of the BRN members that are on this call, you will recognize the leader who will be on. That's the only way I'm going to tease it. So you're going to get the notice. And anything you want to leave us with, Merrill, over the next 2 minutes, or you're good?
I am good, but I just hope that if you've never taken a stab at it, or if you have not, added anyone to your tree in the last season of time, just see what happens. Give it a try, because it is something that can really be a blessing to, your family. And there are many other things. And let me also speak finally to listen, once I was in the 4th grade, but when I moved to the 5th grade, it did not negate the 4th grade. And when I was at Coldwell Banker, I learned a huge foundation. I probably wouldn't even be where I am. It would be different. If any one thing of it changed, it would all be different. And so I had a great supportive broker and relationships. If I wasn't there, I wouldn't have even heard about Keller Williams when I did. And when I was at Keller Williams at the beginning, I can remember when Gary Keller and the whole leadership team shook everybody's hand. And I've got pictures. You would wait in line and they would stay there until the line was finished. So I think that all of it is relevant, and there will be other things that are going to come along. And I just hope that you'll take a stab and take advantage of the opportunity.
Well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone who's participated in this one. And like we say here at Dallas Preston Road every morning, today's a great day to go take a listing, because we understand that's how you compete and win in today's market. So thank you again, Merrill. I appreciate you, the Godfather, everyone. See you guys next week, and let's go make it a great day.